Hey everyone, Amber Temerity here. Of course, just as I hit the live button, my cat's like squeaking and clawing at me. She wants to get in my lap, but we'll see. I got the kids, I think, to behave for this hangout. We'll see about the cats. Those are a little bit harder to control. Anyway, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the 11 things that I consider when I'm looking at a client's website, especially, for those of them that are bloggers, the 11 things that I consider there, and then also thinking about some other websites, services sites, and the like. And we're going to be looking at a few of those and doing a free audit on some of those. And I want to say that if your website was not selected, either because we just don't have a lot of time or because of an error with the Google Drive, because a couple of you put like your physical mailing address instead of your website. I'm just going to make sure real quick here on my phone because I'm getting an error message on the app. But looks like we should be good there. If at any point you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and comment in the comment section below this video. I will try to address them as I'm doing this live stream. But if I don't get around to it, obviously, I will be here to answer questions afterwards as well. So I'm just pulling up the comments here real quick. Make sure that I have all of that set so I can see anybody who has something to say. Again, if you hear creaking or rustling about, that would be one of my wonderful cats causing chaos there. So let's go ahead and get started. I am hoping that Google will behave itself because I am using Google Hangouts with YouTube Live to get this done, and I'm hoping that it will behave and share my screen properly. We'll see. So let's go ahead and do some screen sharing here. And we're going to want this window. All right, once again, just making sure. It looks like it should be sharing to you guys. It is awesome. All right, so here we go. So like I said, there's 11 different things here that I think about when I am looking at websites, right? And again, especially for bloggers, because it's primarily who I take on as clients. But the first one we're going to look at is actually a services site. And this one is interesting because it just goes to show that even those of us who are experts in our field and who are offering services such as this one where you're designing websites, it is it is an absolute must to have a second set of eyes, have a fresh set of eyes, constantly seek feedback so that you're not overlooking something. Because like I've said before, one thing that I see a lot of people struggle with is really the ability to step back from the potential problem or to take that step back to see those obstacles. Because when you are so close to a situation, such as a website that you yourself have created, this brand, this business that you've built up, it can be really hard to see the picture as a whole and to also see different key components that may be impacting a more successful business. So one more time here, I'm just gonna make sure that I had sound going. One time I had where I started a webinar and the sound wasn't working and I forgot to check, and I will never again make that mistake in my life. So just wanted to make sure we were good there with the screen sharing. But looking at this first website, I am going to guess that this is supposed to be, what do you guys think? I wouldn't say Yuxer because that makes me think yuck, right? We don't want that. So maybe user? I don't know. But that's one of the first things that's going to jump out at me, right? Is how do I say your name? If you've been following me for a few years now, you know that when I originally launched my services site, I did embracing temerity. Temerity being not only a word for, kind of a pig-headed bravery, but also my name. And I quickly learned that people really struggled with saying temerity, spelling temerity. And when you've got that going on, that in and of itself is going to immediately impact your ability to generate even more leads and to have people wanting to promote you and advocate you if they don't know your name. So again, I am just one person. So whether this is your website or if I hit on your website here in a little bit, just know that I am simply here to act as that second set of eyes. I am not the end-all be-all of the blogging and digital services world. It really is just this opportunity, not only for you as the website owner to get some feedback from, again, a fresh set of eyes, but to really go over those foundational pieces so that other people watching this, even if it's not their website, can learn and can kind of pinpoint things that maybe their website is lacking or that they need to tweak or add on. So the name obviously being that first one. Then when I'm looking at this website specifically, if I'm going to be hiring somebody for services, whether it's an individual person or an agency, the very first thing that I'm going to want to know about the company or the person that I'm looking to hire is that about. But before I jump in there, looking at this homepage, it says, check out our latest post. So I'm going to assume that this is an agency, right? And I mean, I see, authority immediately established here because you've got Susie there in the corner, who is a really well-known blogger, right? I don't recognize anyone else here. Mackenzie. But having those people on your page, that's immediately going to establish some authority for you, right? But what's missing? You are. I don't know who the people are that's behind this page. And the other thing that immediately jumps out to me, and this may just be in the way that this latest post falls, is that I'm looking at this and it says, 12 expert designers share their best web design tips. And it's interesting because those that I do know on this, I wouldn't think of as expert web designers. I know that they do have beautiful websites. I don't know whether they did them for themselves or not, but they're bloggers first and foremost. So that stands out to me. But then also, why am I on a website looking for potential services, right? Looking to hire someone to design my own delightful website. And I'm looking here and I'm seeing tips to what? DIY it myself. So there's already a little bit of confusion there being created for that user experience. And so, these aren't ones that I would necessarily be wanting to read as someone who is looking to possibly hire this company or this agency. Then when I go over to their about, there's nothing here. I keep seeing we, how we can help you, sign up for our list, but there's nothing here about who is it. I love this little tagline here that it helps you remove your personal bias towards your own website. Again, that's kind of what we're trying to do today. But then I don't know who I would be looking at hiring. I don't know why I would want a cheat sheet. Again, is this something where I'm going to be hiring someone to teach me to do it myself? Or am I hiring someone to do it for me? Because if I'm hiring someone to do it for me, I don't want that cheat sheet. I maybe want to know what I need to know before hiring, how to, or what to look for when it comes to having a successful website. But I don't need something that's going to help me DIY it. And so there's a lot lacking here. And then just a few grammatical errors, like the let's, obviously that should be a apostrophe and not a question mark. And then when I looked at their Facebook and their Twitter too, it seems to me, based on the little bit that I looked at this website, that they are brand new. However, then I see this date and I think, okay, it's over a year old. There's no clear story here. There's no clear background. Their Facebook, I think, had a couple hundred people who liked it. Seemed kind of dead in the water. There is nothing here inspiring me to want to be on this site. So there's a lot of confusion here. And then 2, if you're going to have dates on your blog, which I could go either way with, but if you are, you better be showing me some consistency here. So that's another one of those things where, you hear consistency time and time again with a lot of things, right? You want to stay consistent with your brand, with your colors, with your topics, with your voice, and with your posting schedule. So again, I come here and I see that there's that date on that about page. And then I go here and I see that they've done a blog post in May, and then the one before that was done in March, and then before that, February, and then October. Like, that's a big jump, right? So this website, if I came here, I would not know what they want me to do. I would not know what exactly they do. There's no clear pathway here to anything. And so this is a website where, even though it is very pretty, I'm not necessarily a big fan of that blue there, but in general, it's very pretty, but there's no direction for me here. There's nothing that is telling me much of anything. And so with this website, again, there would be a lot of work here to be done to clean it up and have a better idea as to what exactly we've got going on. So then I'm going to pop over to Karen's website and close that one out. Karen is obviously a financial blogger. You may have seen her videos before. She's really great at going live on YouTube and on her Facebook page and in groups. She's absolutely an authority in the area of finances. And so when I come to her homepage, when I'm looking first at the above the fold, right before I start scrolling, there's a little bit too much going on here, to where if I were to come to her homepage rather than coming in through the blog, I wouldn't necessarily know where she wants me to go. So again, the finances part is very clear cut. Money made simple, got a great tagline. That's another thing that you look for. But the flow is what I struggle with here just a little bit. That said, I do like that she's got her subscribe thing here, because you don't want to make someone have to hunt you down for that information, to figure out how best to follow you, to learn more about, how to get on your email list and what it is you've got going on. Keep it simple. Now, that's not to say that you should have a pop-up when I first get to your site. Now, I will know, and I don't know if it's going to do it for me because I refreshed it. Let's see if I refresh it and if it'll give it to me. Or maybe if I go here. It's not going to do it because I already had been on this site, but I do know she has an exit pop-up. Exit pop-ups are great, except I wouldn't have one on my homepage if I'm already putting this much focus on having the subscription form basically be that top bold part of my homepage. And so, again, this isn't bad by any means, but the direction could be a little bit clearer. So if I were Karen, one thing that I would maybe consider is having an introductory video, or this. I love this so much. I love the color. I think that it flows really well in terms of that. I'm by no means a graphic designer or color expert. That is definitely one of my weak points. But as a novice when it comes to design, this is beautiful. The purple and the way that it flows. I love this. This here is what I would be putting up here. Then I would have a smaller section below this that's got this color, that's got this box. Bam. Then I would have these 2 videos divided up under that. And then the rest of this I would have. I love, love, love the rest of this. The rest of it has amazing flow. So again, you would have that sign up. You'd have a couple samples of her work with those videos. You've got kind of the direction of whether you need help with time or money. You can click that and figure that out. I would maybe tweak this image to have a better contrast here, only because the control gets just a little bit lost here with the white of that money in the background. But again, it's not the end all be all of the site. And then she's got that get in touch. And then she's got these testimonials. I would maybe, instead of get in touch, because that makes me think I'd lead to an email, possibly, or contact form, I would put something like schedule your free call, or schedule a free sample session, or something like that. But again, that's not a bad way to phrase it. And then, more testimonials. I love that. Then as we get to the very bottom here, directing us to these blogs. Again, one minor tweak I would have here is that for SEO purposes, even though I know that these are podcasts, I would consider pulling the number out of the title here, and I would have the images be consistent. And I would change this to say something like my top financial advice, or something where it's clear that some of these are podcasts and some of these are blogs. So again, just a few minor tweaks here, but in general, this is amazing. Then she wraps it up again with a little bit more of the client testimonials. So we know immediately, being on the site, that it's not just a blog, it's not just a podcast, it's an entire program and package built to make money simple, right? Money made simple, going back to that tagline. And then up here, all of the different information that she's got in terms of her menu is awesome. With the work with me, I look at that. We'll touch on that real quick. Again, very beautiful picture. The only change here is, again, making that contrast a little bit deeper. I would maybe put a slightly transparent full color box behind this text just to make it pop out a little bit more. I don't know what it looks like on mobile, but here on desktop, it is hard to read. I would have to very much highlight it to fully read the whole thing. But again, these are such minor tweaks where, I'm sure there's no doubt in my mind that Karen has looked at this website 1,000 times. And so again, these are simple things where tweaking it will make the user experience just a little bit better, but it's hard to see it when it is your own baby, when it is your own site. But again, she's got the direction here. One thing that I would like to see a little bit more of is what exactly she does, right? So if I was brand new to who it is that's behind KT Finances, what it is she's got going on, really want to look at, is she a financial strategist? Is she an efficiency strategist, a time management strategist? I've got enough already based on this to know that she does strategies, right? And of course, it's not the cats, it's the dog. But I get brownie points for the fact that my kids aren't in the background, right? And then I would get a little bit deeper into what it is that she does. So, again, I see that there's coaching here, but if I'm just clicking that strict work with me button, which is going to be what most people do in terms of that habit, they're going to click that, and then they're going to go, okay, but wait, this is the same thing I saw on the homepage. So one thing that I might do, again, if I were Karen, is to flesh this out just a little bit more, to be a little bit more clear about what working with Karen really looks like. Don't make me hunt down that coaching section. If that's your primary push, I would have that on there. I would even maybe consider making this the work with me page. So again, just something to consider there. Overall, though, this is an amazing website. I love this. I adore Karen. I think she's fantastic. But I promise this is unbiased advice, as you'll see a little bit more as we get into some of these other sites. But overall, the flow is great. It was just mostly having that contrast deepen a little bit in some of the images. But in general, there's a really good flow here. So then popping over to the whole you. I love the logo. I think that is absolutely adorable. And then again, first looking at that above the fold information, I see immediately who it is that's behind this site, right? I see immediately what it is that she does. And I see what she means by the whole you. So we're talking about real health, considering the mind, body, spirit, diet, and environment. And then not only that, but she even has her elevator pitch a little bit right here, right? She helps exhausted moms discover a simple path to health so they can gain energy, lose weight, and feel great about who they are inside and out. Love that. I love it so much because, again, if I come to your homepage, which a lot of times they're not, they're coming through to your blog. But when they're on your blog, if they're interested in learning more, they're either going to click over to your home or they're going to click over to your About You. If I click over to home, this is going to immediately tell me what it is she's got going on, what kind of information I'm going to find here. She makes that almost unarguable statement of Western medicine is broken. So, even if I'm not necessarily on board with what it is that she believes or what it is she's doing here, that statement alone makes me go, oh, it's a little authoritative, right? This is a final statement. I love that because that immediately establishes, again, one of those things that we're looking for here is that authority, that I know what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I believe. It really lends itself so well to, again, immediately establishing her as somebody who knows what she's talking about, who isn't afraid to make those statements based on what she believes, based on, her expertise, her knowledge, her wisdom. I love that. So absolutely awesome. And so then again, she's got, I love when people have the different sections here, because again, that really helps your visitors, your readers, your audience kind of decide where to go from here, right? Where to branch out to. So with this, one thing that I might tweak here is just to make these images clickable, because that's immediately what I'm going to try to do out of habit. And they're not. And I certainly wouldn't, if possible, I can't tell immediately what plugin she uses, but I would not have these over them. I would just make the images clickable, and then, of course, have these learn more, read more, join the group. That is awesome. I can tell immediately that one of the directions she wants her audience to take is to join that Facebook group, because I saw it immediately up here, and then I saw it again down here. So that's great. Then it goes immediately into needing that free coaching session. That's awesome. If you've been doing services for a while, one of the first things that you typically learn is to never call it a discovery call, even though, let's be real, that's typically what we're doing. Not only the client discovering the person that she's looking to hire, he's looking to hire, but the person being hired, the person offering those services, getting to know the potential client and deciding whether or not they want to work with them. Again, if you've been doing services for a while, you've probably had that not so great client that you're like, oh, should have vetted him or her a little bit better. So while discovery sessions are a must, another must is to not call them discovery sessions. All right. Then again, going down here, it's kind of funny because spring allergies, if you've been wondering if I'm trying to channel Fran Drescher just a little bit because of how nasally I sound, I am absolutely battling spring allergies, even though we're getting into summer here, summer allergies. But that's one where I'm going to, it's very relevant. It's very seasonal. That is one where I'm going to click in and want to learn more. I love the consistency, again, going back to the email consistency in terms of colors, branding, topics, voice, images, all of that. She's very consistent here. That logo is staying, though small, which is good for these. It's staying there. It's reminding me of what website I'm on. The only thing that I would maybe change in terms of this layout, in terms of the flow of this homepage, is moving this up a little bit more. You don't want to make somebody scroll all the way down to learn about how to stay in contact with you. But in general, this homepage is great. Now, one of the other things that I'm going to look for when I'm looking at somebody's website, right? Again, talking about when I'm looking at people that are looking to hire me, potential clients, I look at their websites, and one of the first things that I look for is that disclaimer, the privacy policy. And that is one thing that I am not seeing here. And that is especially if you are in the area of health, it's a must. You have to have that disclaimer. But in general, it doesn't matter if you're talking about health, finances, lifestyle, money, whatever. You've got to have the privacy policy as well because you are collecting email addresses, right? I'm not just saying like this is something that's nice to have, that's good to have. It is a legal must. You must have it. And so I'm looking real quick because I don't want her to come back and be like, well, didn't you see it? So I'm just triple checking my own work here. But I don't see anything here that's going to lead me to her privacy policy. That's going to tell me, not just what she might do with my email address and my information, but also that disclaimer that she is not, even though she is RN, she's a registered nurse, she's not guaranteeing results. She's not making any sort of extraordinary claims that can't be backed up. And so that would be one thing where I'm going to immediately go, let's get that in place for you. But then looking at the work with me page, which again is going to be that next, if I'm coming in from the blog, if I'm loving what it is that I'm reading, like I said, it's either going to be home or it's going to be work with me. So I go to the work with me here, and it's a little chaotic, right? There is a lot going on here in terms of trying to read from left to right. And again, I have no doubt that this looks different on mobile, which is typically what, most people are using these days, mobile or tablet. But on desktop, my eyes are like bebopping over here, and then they're bebopping over here. And so maintaining that focus, I'm like, oh, what am I supposed to look at here? So again, I would consider breaking it up so that it flows straight down through the page, not having the different sections all in a row like this. I would also consider breaking it up with the different color boxes, but being consistent across the entire page. And then I would make it very clear when those testimonials start. And then in terms of testimonials, now with this certain niche, obviously you're going to have people who want to remain private, right? But I would work really hard to at least have a few testimonials that have the person's face and that have the person's website if they've got one, because that in and of itself will lend such credibility to your ability to say, these are not made up, this is legit, this is what we've got going on here. So again, just something to think about when you're talking testimonials. And then I do like how many times she's got that free strategy session in here. But going back to consistency, because I think, I could be wrong, first week of summer break. I don't pretend to be completely on my game 24/7 here. But when I look at this, okay, here it's a free coaching session. Here it's a strategy session. Now I get that there is a very fine line that most people don't care to differentiate. And I'm talking about from the client perspective. It's not as big of a deal, right? As somebody who refers to herself as a strategist, as someone who's written and researched and done a lot of work in terms of defining strategist versus coach versus mentor, it makes it a little unclear for me whether it's going to be more strategy and tactics or more coaching, because there is a big difference there. And so again, that is something where she might want to consider remaining consistent, whether it is more coaching or more strategy. Now, maybe her target market doesn't necessarily care to define or really think that there's so much of a difference that it's going to that's going to impact whether or not somebody looks to book that free call. But it is something to keep in mind and consider, because again, I see strategy, I see coach, I see strategy, I see coach. And again, for me, there's a huge difference there in terms of the teaching style, in terms of what I expect out of a program. So consistency there really could make a huge difference in terms of somebody booking that free call and going from there. And then looking at her blog, which is something that I want to dive deeper into now, move away from the services site. Again, I think it's beautiful. I think it's very consistent. I fully am going to come back and read more about these natural ways to help spring allergies, because tell you what, I've been chugging kombucha. I've been drinking bone broth. I've been doing everything I can to try and gain my voice back a little bit more. It's really hard that first week of summer break, especially, to be a work-at-home mom with a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old and not have a voice. So this is something where, again, I'm going to come back here. This here makes me want to learn more. I also like that she's got the follow me here on the side, right? Because I didn't see that anywhere else except for it might be on her about page, but I don't see that either. That's something to consider too, is having a separate about page, but she does such a good job on her home. It may not make that much of a difference, but going back to the blog, I like this. I like this. I think that's really set up really well. I would lose the archives, right? While there may be a lot of golden information in these, I have zero doubt about that, just based on what little I've already read. This just makes it cluttered. It just leaves a lot of white space here on the side. It could be slightly impacting your load time. I don't know that it is that much, but there's this it's just unnecessary. It's unnecessary clutter. And if there's one thing above all else that I tend to immediately make my clients clean up, is that unnecessary clutter on their websites. So again, something to think about is just ending it here, ditching the archives. It would look a lot better. But in general, I love this. I think it's great. Like I said, as somebody who is very much about natural ways to heal the body, this is a website where I would absolutely want to sign up and read and learn more. So that might be one thing that I might add here on the side, is that subscribe button to stay in touch, right? Because unless I remember to bookmark it, I'm not going to remember to come back to this if I don't know the person, if I didn't recognize her name as somebody that I've seen in groups and whatnot. So then heading over to 2 blogs. The first one, full-time homeschool mom. Whew, God love you. I don't know that I could do it. Thought about it. Don't know that I could do it. But that maybe make me the perfect audience, right? Because I'm somebody who's thought about it and gone, maybe. So this would be a website where I might come to want to learn more. But there's not a whole lot going on here. So again, this may be something where it's relatively new, or it may be just that it's all hiding below the fold. And we don't want to do that. We never want to be hiding our best stuff below the fold. So I see here, I would want to tweak this image to either bring it all the way across or to center it. Because again, I come here and my first impression is, oh, it's half finished, because I don't think to start scrolling, right? So I'm just here and I'm going, what am I supposed to do? She's got these tags here, but the font is so tiny. I don't know if they're clickable, right? I have to hover over them to see what I've got going on. And then I just see this Amazon banner. And I don't know if it's, well, okay, I can see that, but it's obviously an affiliate banner. I get it. You're hoping maybe someone will click on it. They're not going to. Sorry to be blunt, but that's the name of the game today. They're not going to click on that. Everybody knows what Amazon is, right? There's nothing there that's going to inspire me to click on it. Lose it. Center this. Bring this stuff up. I want a clear idea as to what exactly I'm going to find here. So I would either move these up, your categories, right? Move them up here, or make them much bigger. Because again, full-time homeschool mom, I have a pretty good idea, I think, as to what to expect. I expect homeschooling tips and probably how to maintain my sanity with my children, parenting tips, life hacks, things like that. And then, of course, the curriculum and instruction. But it's all very much hidden. And I would imagine, and I could be wrong, I didn't look at it on mobile first, but it would be really hard to see on mobile if it's this size. So I move it all up. And I would move Holly. I would consider getting a sidebar widget and moving your about up here. And I would have a little sampling, right? Because you're so lost down here. And there's nothing here that's inspiring me to read more, because more about Holly. Who's Holly? I mean, I'm assuming that she's the woman behind the site, but there's nothing here that's going to inspire me to click to read more. right? You've got to pique that curiosity. You've got to really not make your audience work for it. And so again, I click here. There's nothing about Holly above the fold. You're once again making me work to scroll down. Even here, right? I get to here. There's still nothing. Oh, but I want to learn about you, Holly. Why are you making me work so hard for it? Oh, and there it is. And so, this is something where I would maybe pull this information of talking about how, your oldest just graduated from college and now you're looking to share your best tips in homeschooling. Have that here, and then make it, again, you've got that, ooh, like, my goodness, you do know what you're talking about, right? Again, establishing that authority, you know what you're talking about because you've got somebody that just graduated from college with 2 degrees. Okay, yes, I do want to read more. So again, bump that up a little bit. I would put this in your sidebar widget as well, especially if you're just going to have random banners placed throughout. And then, triple checking my work once again. Okay, there it is, your disclosure policy. So here is where you are going to, again, talk about the advertisements, the affiliates, and that's awesome. One of the other things that I'm going to look for, though, and put my speed reading skills to use, is does she talk about what she does with the information that I give her in terms of commenting, in terms of, signing up for your list, things like that. I could be missing it, but I'm not seeing anything about what she does if she keeps my information safe. So that's something where you might want to consider. I would also say this blog does not contain any content which might present a conflict of interest. That is a stretch of a claim to make, because if you're doing sponsored posts, if you're doing affiliates, yes, we want those unbiased reviews, right? We talk about it, and it talks it up here. Even though we receive compensation for our posts or advertisements, we give our honest opinions. But to say that there's no potential for conflict of interest, I think is a stretch. And I think, while unlikely, you are potentially setting yourself up for some issues there. Something to think about. One other thing to think about as I'm looking here is that this font is really hard to read. I don't even know that making it bigger would make it easier, because I have to literally stop, and I don't have the best eyesight, right? But my eyes are only about going on 32 years old, so they're relatively, they're still all right for a few more years. I'm on desktop. I have a rather large monitor. I am still struggling to read that says fabulous online K through 12 program. Really excited about that. Woo! 500 plus courses to choose from. One price for the whole family. Is that what this is? Like, I had to seriously stop, because I thought that this was just a generic ad advertising like Chewy.com or, I don't know, Advantix for dogs, because nothing about this ad, and I get that you have no control over the ad, right? But nothing about this ad makes me realize that, oh, it's about homeschooling. It is related to this. I thought it could have been an AdSense ad. So I would first look to see if there's a different ad that you could use for this company, but also, again, fix that font to make it much more legible. It really is a struggle there. It also is a very outdated ad. So that's just another thing to pay attention to. Again, obviously you didn't design the ad, but you have to be very mindful about what kind of ads you're putting on there, because, again, I assumed it was just like an AdSense ad, not paying attention, whatever. But then when I stopped to read that, I was like, oh, wait, is that a wrong, like, what am I doing here? Where am I going? And so there's a very, very much a disconnect with this. And then with the connect with me, I would move that either to be right above your Facebook, or lead it to your subscription if you've got an email list, something. Again, there's a lot of wasted space right here. I'm not sure what you are wanting me to do. Because, yeah, I'd love to connect with you, but how? So something to think about there. And then again, we looked at the About Me page. I think that's really well written. The only thing with About pages that you want to keep in mind as well is that you also want to make it a little bit about your readers, right? So, you do a really good job here of talking about your background. Again, going back to establishing that authority. The flow is pretty well done. But there's nothing here that makes me go, that really brings the story in to help me relate, right? Because based on what little I've looked at, I feel like your target market, your audience is people looking to learn how to homeschool. Is homeschooling right for me? How do I even start? And so while, again, you do a really good job of establishing authority, your expertise, you really should do something to assuage your readers' fears in terms of learning to homeschool, how it really gets going. So, have that introduction as to who you are, why they should learn from you, all of that. But then instead of saying, let me know what I can do to help you, no, let me know what you can do to help me. Like, that's what you should expound upon here. Let me know why I'm here. Let me know why I should be learning from you beyond your expertise, right? What exactly are you going to be teaching me? And while you do talk about, I can help you, I am seeing parents having to, there needs to be more you. So really working on fleshing out that copy to, again, make it more where your audience reads that About page and goes, oh, me too. Oh, I do want to learn that. Oh, again, making that almost automatic connection with your audience to really give them that space to want to immediately then go and sign up for your email list, want to go and read your blog. That would be the other thing that I would really look into, is really focusing in on your blog and not just having the tag pages down here, but having up here where to go for your blog. And so, I know you've got those latest posts on your homepage. That's fine and dandy. But down here, when I'm going to your actual blog, I click time management and I get one post. And again, maybe you're new. I haven't seen anything yet that makes me think, oh, maybe, it's an older site. But then I homeschool tips and I get a few. So, again, it strikes me as a new site, and that may be the case. But if you have this little content, lose the tags for now and just have blog. And then when I click into your blog itself, like let's say I landed here from Pinterest, because it looks like, you're doing pretty well there. Have a related posts plugin. Okay, you do. Yeah, I would have those. And see that I see this and I see 2017. And so I'm wondering what's missing here. So again, I would consider having this all on a separate page up here and just have blog, and either flesh these out more or lose them completely. And then one last thing I'm going to click to look at here is the curriculum and instruction. So that takes me to a blog or a couple blog posts. I go to outsourcing. That's going to take me to the same thing. Favorite tools, same thing almost, right? So there's a lot of repetitiveness here where, again, if I were just a genuine user looking to learn more, yeah, I might click like page. But then if I keep hitting the same exact things every time I go to explore, I'm going to click away and I'm going to exit out. So really consider that flow with your website, with your blog. Really think about where you want them to go. Give your audience that clear direction. Should they land on your homepage, right? Where do you want them to go from there? Should they land on a blog post? Where do you want them to go from there? Should they click to your About page? Where do you want them to go from there? And the destination may very much be the same for all three, maybe. But if I were you, and again, this is more of a general, not necessarily talking directly to Holly, if I'm on your About page, then give me a direction that bridges that connection a little bit better, right? So whether it's subscribe to my email list, or book that free sample session, that free coaching session, that free call, or check out my favorite tools, or whatever it is, give me that next step. Make it blatantly clear where exactly you want me to go from here. Don't just hope I'm going to aimlessly click around and take action. Be very specific about the flow, about the direction you want your audience to take. And again, the 3 that I would look at is, where do you want them to go from home? Where do you want them to go from the about? And where do you want them to go from your blog? All right, last website I'm going to go over. Again, if you're here and I haven't touched on your website, you want me to, I have a few extra minutes, so comment and let me know. I can take a look. But otherwise, Toots Mom is Tired is going to be the last one that I talk about. Nikki and I actually know each other in real life. But again, I'm going to be as unbiased as I can. However, and this is complete 100% honesty, I knew of Nikki and of Toots Mom is Tired before I realized that, oh, we more or less live in the same city. Well, that's fun. Because for a number of reasons, right? For one, and this is a personal one, but for one, I actually called my daughter Toots when she was little, not because like, oh, what a cutie, but because she like literally never stopped tooting. It was worrisome. She was like an old man. But like that made right that there's that immediate personal connection. Again, going back to that first website we talked about, that name could very much make or break you. And so that is what stuck in there for me. But another thing that really stuck out is that she's very consistent in her branding, in the colors that she uses, in her voice, a lot, like very consistent all throughout. And then lastly, it was that tagline, hacking motherhood and endless coffee. Again, as a mother to a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old, I see that and I'm like, oh yes, please. Like I want to read everything, right? Because again, there's that immediate opportunity to make that connection with your target market, with your ideal audience. And she's done it perfectly here. This is awesome. And then her website actually, I've known of her for going on a couple of years now, I think. But her website looks a little bit different than it did in the past. Again, because even those of us who've been doing this for years, there's always room for improvements. There's always room to tweak things, to make the flow a little bit better, to, convert leads better. And so she does a really good job with this again, because you've got the consistency. You get an immediate feel for, oh, I know exactly who it is that's behind this website. I know exactly what it is she's going to be talking about, not just because of the tagline, but because she's got mom life, toddlers, babies, pregnancy, all of those things, especially moms of young children, that we're going to want to talk about, we're going to want to touch on. So perfection with this. I love it. I think it's absolutely wonderful. Again, it gives that air of authority, the air of expertise, because she's sharing all these family photos, but she keeps it on a personal level, which is so important, especially for bloggers, but definitely for service providers too, right? Even though we work online, we want to feel like we know these people that we're looking to hire, that we're looking to learn from, that we're looking to read more about. We want to feel like we might be friends in real life, or at the very least, somebody that, if they were teaching a college or a class at the local community college, someone that we might look to teach us. So definitely, especially on your homepage, keep that in mind. Keep in mind what it is you can do to immediately establish not just authority, but a connection, that authenticity. Going back to that first website we looked at, there was literally nothing there. So now we're on the other side of the spectrum, but in a great way, as to knowing who it is that's behind Toots Mom is Tired. And then when I scroll down, are you a new mom or a toddler mom looking for some tips? You're in the right place. Well, I'm a preschooler mom, but yeah, we'll get there, because then when I scroll down and I see her blog post down here, she touches on it. Well, it's a little bit further down than I realized, but talks about the different games and fun things that she's got going on, the different activities, again, gift ideas. She got a lot of different topics here, but they all come back to that niche of parenting, of being a parent of younger children. So that's awesome. But going back up here, one thing that I would consider tweaking is having a more specific, is I would move this. I am a big proponent of embedding whenever possible. I've got a client that I constantly have to go in and tweak things for her, because she has a tendency to do this, where you've got that button, you're going to make me click and you're going to make me go over out of curiosity. Okay, it does at least open a new page, but I would have this. I think this is beautiful. It's, again, really well done. I would embed this here instead of just having that subscribe button. Don't make me click away. Don't let me get distracted. Let me plug in my name and email address, hit subscribe, and scroll on, right? Because we don't want to lose them. They're going to get distracted. They're going to sign up. And since they're already on a different page anyway, they're going to go over their email. And they're going to go into their email and they're going to see, oh, I got to answer something, or I got to, do whatever. Goodness knows we all get distracted by email and everything else that we've got going on online. Don't lose them. Embed this. Keep them on your page. And then the other thing that I would consider possibly moving is the start a blog. Because while that is certainly a great thing to talk about, it detracts from what it is you've got going on otherwise. There's a lot of great ways to make money through affiliate marketing and the like by talking about blogging. And there's certainly a tie-in there, right? Because that's what we do. We're bloggers. And so we're bloggers because we have kids, because we want that freedom, because we want to be able to work from home and be with our kids, as often as possible, or as often as, our sanity will allow. So there's definitely a possible tie-in there. But if I were you, would work more on funneling that towards like tagging and segmenting your email list and figuring out what percentage of your audience is looking to possibly start a blog, to be more like you, to make money from blogging, to work from home, and go from there. I would not make this a part of my homepage or part of the direction. That said, I would absolutely keep this. I would see if you can find an image that's a little bit clearer. Again, it's not awful, but it does slightly take away from everything else that you've got going on, because everything else is so beautiful, so beautiful. And then I get here and, it's grainy. Happens to all of us, but something to think about, because it does, everything else is so crystal clear and awesome. It's just a minor tweak to think about. The other thing that I would have is maybe, you've got your popular posts. I would maybe have like popular be one section here, maybe have mom resource library again, even though I would just have that here. I wouldn't necessarily put it again here. And then maybe talk about, or link to one of your pillar posts that relates to the mom resource library. So that way, those of us on the fence, those of us that are maybe more protective about what it is they've got going on with their email address, the information that they give out, you might be able to kind of nudge them towards, okay, yes, I do want to be on her list. But again, overall, I think that's really set up really well. And then here, what would you like to read about? I love that, because it's like, okay, yes, clear direction. I want mom life, right? I want to read about how best to relate to, or not how best to relate to other moms, but what it is, the funny parts of mom life, the being nostalgic, right? Missing being pregnant, gift ideas for lazy people. I love that. There's a lot of great posts here that, again, very relatable as a mom. And then other things too. Again, the only one that I would maybe consider losing is that blogging. That's not to say I would pull it from the blog itself, but it's something to think about. Unless you are specifically targeting people looking how to learn how to blog, it's not something that I would have taking up space. I would create a whole separate services site, possibly. Again, I know for Nikki specifically, that's not something she's looking to do, but in general, again, this is totally in general, do not feel like you have to talk about how to blog to make money blogging, because I promise you, you don't. I have maybe, I'm Thrifty Guardian, maybe 5 posts total that touch on making money blogging. But they're about like affiliate marketing and, different brief mention in terms of working from home, right? Because I do talk about on Thrifty Guardian, obviously, ways to work from home. That's part, it's one of my categories. But even then, I really don't focus too much on how to make money blogging by talking about blogging. So unless that's something where you're bringing in a significant income and it's something where your target market are moms with early children who are looking to learn about blogging, I would either make a second site or have it in there, but rely strictly on SEO and Pinterest to direct people there. I would not make it a part of my marketing strategy or a part of my website formatting and flow. And then I love this, the trending posts. There's a lot of great things that I can say about the site. I love that she's got, again, there's the easy ways to connect with her on the different social media platforms. She's got that privacy policy, that disclosure that, again, I am looking for immediately. I see down here she's on Mediavine, so that tells me, yes, there's going to be ads, but we know that they're going to be quality ads. A lot of great stuff here. Then when I click to her about, I love half of this, and I'm going to keep going back to it. I don't love the blogging resources and start a blog challenge. I really feel like it detracts from what it is she's got going on otherwise. Again, personal preference here. I want to stick with about. I want to learn why you call your daughter Toot. Was she Tootie like my kid? And then maybe your favorite things. Absolutely. I would lose the blog stuff. Once again, picture a little bit grainy. Again, I know that can be a difficult thing to tweak sometimes, but I would love to see it cleaned up just a bit. And then I love the breakdown here in terms of her personality type. There's a lot, even the 5 words here, this tells me a lot. Like, this might be one of the most clever about setups that I've seen, because what more do you need to know about a person? In terms of like immediate information, that tells me so much. It tells anyone so much. And then 2, the quick faves. I love that. I love it so much. It's so well done. And then she's got that's a really, really pretty picture. I love that too. And again, here coming back to the establishing authority in social media and being authoritative, having this here, I see that she's got almost 10,000 followers immediately, even though I don't think that you are targeting people who are looking to learn about blogging, right? That establishes authority in terms of being a mom I want to follow, right? Because we're talking about our audience in terms of being a one-on-one connection, that authentic connection. I'm not looking to learn from another blogger. I'm not looking to follow a blogger. I am looking to follow a mom. I am looking to follow a mom of young kids who gets it. I am looking to, read her stories and, learn from her and get her advice about activities and DIYs and, the gift ideas and parenting hacks and how I can make my life easier by learning from her. It's not about blogging, but that still lends itself really well to, I want to be one of her followers. And then, again, like I touched on with the last blog that we talked about, she does a really good job here because immediately, she introduces herself, she establishes that authority, and then this blog is for you, my reader, and then perfection. Then once again, the Instagram talks about, yes, she's a professional blogger. Once again, I would maybe lose that part. But in general, I love that. She's got, again, that direction for the about page. Wondering why I call my daughter Toot? Well, then go here. Want to contact me about questions or potential branding? Well, then go here. She's got that clear flow that is so essential to a quality audience experience. So definitely keep that in mind. I love that. Again, this is one of the best about pages I've ever seen in terms of establishing authority, authenticity, flow, formatting, and direction. Like spot on, fantastic. And then the only other thing that I would suggest changing is this mom resource library. Assuming that it's on something like Teachable or, a locked part of your site, I would make that link. I would not make it another subscription link. I would make it that like locked door, right? Because I go there and I click and I'm like, oh, I want in. Then that is your opportunity to have like the password protected page or whatever the case may be, however you've got it set up, and then say, oh, there we go. So that's what I was looking for. And then have the get access. So I would have this page, and then below that, have this sign up form embedded. So it's like, oh, you don't know the password? Sign up. But in general, this website, again, I knew of this website. I knew of Nikki before we even realized that we live as close together as we do, because of how well put together her website is, and because she establishes herself as a mother, as a genuine person, as, somebody who isn't here to just spit out content for SEO and he's here to make money. Even though, again, and this is something where as a professional blogger and as a blogging mentor, I see certain things that other people wouldn't in terms of the blogging tips and looking for the privacy policy. And, again, the Mediavine, most people don't even know what Mediavine is unless they are a blogger or the like. Even though I see that, there is nothing here that immediately jumps out at me and goes, oh, she's just looking to make money, right? She does a really, really good job of walking that line of being authentic, being genuine, and not making it all about money and like, here's why you should buy these affiliate products and here's why you should, invest in this service or the like. It's amazing. So let's see if I can stop screen sharing here. Oh, hi, welcome back, me. All right, clicking to bring this over here. If you have any questions, right? Or if, I said, if I touched on something and didn't go deep enough into whatever it is that I was talking about, let me know. Comment below, ask your questions, ask for help. That's what I'm here for. As much as crazy as the summertime can be, right? For any of us, but especially those of us with kids, there's still such a great opportunity here to not just move forward with your blog or your service site, but to take this summertime when people are online less, right? They're not scrolling through Facebook as much. They're not reading as much content. It's typical for your site traffic to drop during these summer months, especially right now when you've got the end of the school madness. And then again, at the end of August, when we get back into the back to school madness, it can be really hard to keep moving forward. It can be really hard to keep putting out content, to want to keep moving forward when you feel like you're just spinning your wheels. Do it anyway. Ask questions, seek feedback, be the one that's going to people's websites and reading about, how to set up WordPress, what plugins would work best in terms of sharing, how to master Pinterest, how to grow a Facebook group. This is a time of learning and implementing, so that as the season grows colder, which I don't even want to think about right now, but as that season grows colder and people start coming back online more and they start, your traffic starts to pick back up and you get ready for like the affiliates and the Black Friday sales and all the money making that we tend to see really happen at the end of the year, have everything else in place so that as that time ramps back up, you're not sitting there floundering, trying to get back into your own routine, trying to implement and research and analyze while also trying to make money off of things that you already know work. Really take this opportunity to figure out what has worked for the first half of the year, to figure out what worked really well last year, right? If you've been doing this for over a year now, figure out what worked, figure out what didn't. Use this time to tweak your website, to maybe focus on growing on a new platform or really, honing in on specific platform growth, right? If you've been really rocking it at Facebook, then maybe now's the time to pick up Instagram or to master Pinterest so that, that traffic does stay somewhat steady. So you're not having to spend 20 hours a week marketing yourself. Use this as an opportunity for learning, again, for implementing, so that the rest of this year could be even more profitable than the half. So just to recap, the 11 things that I look at when I'm talking about a website, and I'll plug this in a comment below after I'm done with this. So I'm going to look for that subscribe. Keep it easy. Make it easy for your people to connect with you. I'm going to look for your privacy policy and your disclaimer. Again, that's not a genuine user or like a general user kind of thing, but as a fellow blogger, I'm going to be looking for that. I'm going to look at your flow. Where do you want me going? What direction do you want your audience to head in? I'm going to look for those follows. Do you make it easy for me to connect with you on social media? Can I find you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever it is you are? If I want to be there, can I find you? And I'm not talking about hopping over the platform and typing in your name and hoping I stumble across you. Have it on there. Have it easy to find. With your about page, again, you want to have direction. You want to stay consistent in terms of whether you write in first person or third person. Then with your consistency in general, you want to stay consistent with your colors, with your branding, with your topics, and with your voice. That is something where, especially early on, bloggers really struggle with finding their voice, especially if you go into blogging thinking, I'm going to make so much money from this. This is going to be awesome. What a great idea I have. And so you start reading about how to blog versus how to find your voice and how to be a quality writer. And so you end up writing for SEO, right? You make sure you've got that H1, those H2s and all that, and you lose your voice. Not like I am right now, but your voice in terms of, again, that connection that the audience is looking from, to know that there is an authentic person behind these writings, behind these teachings. Think about the immediate reaction that your audience is going to have when they come on your website. Not just your homepage, because remember, a lot of these people are coming in through one blog post or another. What's the immediate reaction that you're giving them in terms of the colors you're using, in terms of that tagline, in terms of your site name? And then again, that clear direction. Home, about, posts. Look at each of those three and literally write down where you think your audience is going from there. And does that match up to where you want them to go? Or do you not have any direction for them? If that's the case, then how can you get that direction in there, again, in a genuine way, but in a way that makes it very clear, here's the next step to take from here. Do you have that establishment of authority? If you are somebody who is talking about being an Instagram guru and, you are amazing at Instagram and, all the hashtags and, look at me, but you only have 300 followers, there's no authority being established there. Even if you have accounts for clients that you've grown to be thousands upon thousands of followers, highlight those instead. Think about that tagline, that summary. So again, looking at not just your site name, but does your tagline or summary, if I were to Google your website without the .com, just plug it in your website name, is the snippet that comes up going to immediately tell me what to expect from your website? And then lastly, that before the fold info. Even though so many of us are on mobile and tablet now, I do most of my work, to be perfectly honest, and most of my readings on desktop. And so even if you yourself are like, most of my users are mobile or tablet, hop on desktop and see what sort of information you're presenting above the fold. What sort of experience you're providing your users before they start scrolling. Is there too much going on? Is there not enough going on? Does your website look like it's been running for years and it's really well formatted and well laid out? Or is there so much information lacking that I think it's under construction and I click away because I'm lost and confused, and I don't want to be lost and confused? Really think about all of those things. And if there's one component that you're really struggling with, or again, if you want feedback on something, comment below, let me know. If you are feeling pretty confident about your website, but you're going, okay, I hear you. I know that this summer I really need to kick things into gear so that come fall, come winter, I'm not just making money, but I'm making more money than I've ever made before, but I'm stuck. Or if you're like me and you've got 2 kids at home with you over the summer, or more kids, or no kids even, it can be really easy to lose momentum in the summer. Not just because we want to be outside, we want to be in the sunshine, we want to be at the beach, we want to be at the pool, we want to be barbecuing with our friends, but because you see that traffic start to drop or start to slow down, it can be really hard to want to keep moving forward. If that is the case, I do still have 2 spots left for my Tame the Tedious program, which is a new program strictly available over the summer, in which we hop on a couple calls. I talk to you about strategy. We develop some tactics to ensure that you are making money all year long, identifying where those moneymakers are, mapping out your goals and your plans for all that. But it includes project hours, which is not something I typically offer. I will admit, for my own sites, I tend to find it tedious to schedule out Facebook marketing for my pages, to create Facebook ads, to, split test those, to film my tailwind for Pinterest, things like that. But for you, I want to do that. I want to get those foundational pieces in place so that come the back to school madness, so that come the cooler weather, so that come what may, you can keep moving forward, so that you go into the next season knowing exactly what works, exactly what's going to bring you in more money than you've already been making, to know what your audience reactions are, to know how to run a quality Facebook ad that gets you an actual ROI more than a few cents here and there, a few leads here and there, whatever the case may be. Tame the Tedious not only includes calls with me to help you set up strategies, to help you have those smart tactics in place that lead to more money in less time, but you get those project hours that allow you to kind of sit back, take in what we're talking about, take in what I'm teaching you, take in the strategy, but to then see it in action, so that whether you then continue to do it yourself or you outsource, you can be confident in knowing exactly what works, what doesn't. You don't want to be in research mode in the fall when you've got that traffic picking back up. You don't want to be in research mode when you've all of a sudden got clients knocking on your door and more leads than you know what to do with. You want to be ready. You want to be ready to make money. And so if that's where you want to be at, if you want to be ready to tame the tedious, to get all your ducks in a row, to have those puzzle pieces put together so that the rest of the year is even more profitable than the first part of the year, and way more profitable than last year was, check out Tame the Tedious. Again, I will plug a link in the comments below here in just a minute as I wrap everything up. I'm only taking on 2 more people. I only take on 5 clients at a time for both my own sanity and to ensure I'm providing the best possible service to my clients. So I've only got 2 spots left. And anybody who books before June 2nd will get double the project hours that they normally would, which is a $300 value in and of itself. So be sure to check that out. But again, should you have any questions at all, if you want to know my secret trick to having kept my kids quiet for almost 90 minutes, I'll tell you. You just got to comment below and ask. Other than that, though, I thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, if you have any questions, if you want feedback on one of your own site components or anything like that, comment below. Let me know. Otherwise, be sure to check out Tame the Tedious and sign up before it's too late. Let me show you exactly how to raise higher profits without the higher blood pressure. I will talk to you all soon. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.